Hi, good morning, and welcome to Quilting with Lori. My name is Lori Dickman. Today we are working on part 3 of our sew-along. This is my Snow Village sew-along. Today we're going to be working on the snowflakes. I'm going to be teaching you the fusible, paper-backed fusible applique technique. In part 1, we worked on 4 of the pieced houses. On part 2, we worked on 4 more of the pieced houses. Today it's the snowflakes. The next time that we'll meet for the sew-along, we'll be working on the paper-pieced pine trees. So for those of you who have registered for the class out on my website, quiltingwithlori.com, there's a link below. You can go to the courses tab in my shop, and under that courses tab, you'll find the Snow Village sew-along, and you can register for that. It is a 5-part series. It's $25 for all of the instructions, all of the videos, all of the templates. It's a great class to take, so hopefully you'll join us. If you are one of my YouTube members, my Block of the Month members, you will receive the pattern in your email box. So anyone who's registered for the class on my website and any of my Block of the Month members will receive the email from me today with the instructions and the template for our snowflakes. So let me just share with you real quickly some of the adorable blocks that we have done in the past. I'm going with a lavender and pink. And my snow this time, I'm using scraps. I'm always using fabric from my stash. But my snow this time, as you can see, is all a white polka dot on a light pink batik fabric. I just had some leftover pieces of that from a quilt backing, and I have enough to be able to make my snowflakes and put all of the snow on these wonderful house blocks. And there's 8 different houses that we've pieced over the course of the last 2 classes. Now let's get to the tabletop, and I'm going to show you how to do a really easy paper-backed fusible applique for the snowflakes. On my tabletop here, I have the PDF of instructions and the template. This is one blade of the snowflake template, and you need 6 of these per block. And the pattern calls for 6 of these snowflake blocks. So in that case, you'd need a total of 36 of these traced onto the paper-backed fusible. And I have a number of them traced here. And when I trace my paper-backed fusible, as you've seen me do this many times before, I just lay my paper over the template. You don't have to cut this out of this paper. Keep this page intact so you don't lose your template. You just place it over, and I take a pencil and I trace because you can see right through it. I'm sure you can't on the screen there, but I can see right through it. Now, 2 things to keep in mind. Number 1, I'm teaching paper-backed fusible applique technique for these blocks. But if you are a needle turn appliquer and that's how you prefer to applique, I have included the 1/4-inch seam allowance here. And then, of course, you would need to make sure that each one of your blades was traced, including that 1/4-inch seam allowance, so that you could turn that under and do your needle turn. For those of us who are doing fusible applique, we're going to ignore that dotted line out there. We're going to ignore that 1/4-inch seam allowance, and we are going to simply trace on the dark line 36 times if you intend to make 6 blocks. I'm thinking, I have traced most all of mine. I think I've got about 28 of them traced already. But I think I might make more of my pine tree paper pieced blocks for this quilt. The pattern itself calls for 2 paper pieced pine blocks. But you know, I think I might make 3 of them, maybe even 4. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and just start out making 4 of the snowflakes. I'm going to show you how that process is done. Then I'll decide what we'll do for the next class, which will be when I teach you the paper piecing. I might do 3 or 4 of those as well. We'll see. Couple of things regarding the paper-backed fusible. I am using a roll of it, and I'm going to grab my packaging so I can tell you the brand name. I'm not sure of the brand name right now, but I have a roll of it. I like to buy it on rolls. To me, that's just a better price. It's more efficient for me. I've also found this out on, I think I found this on Amazon, and I use a lightweight paper-backed fusible always when I applique, always lightweight. This one is by Plan Planchonal, it's called. And there are like 20 sheets in here. So that's something that you can check out on Amazon. There are also at quilt shops, Hobby Lobby, they all have packages of this 8.5 by 11-inch fusible paperback sheets. Normally they come anywhere from 5 to 10 sheets per packet, but this one happens to come with 20 sheets in the packet. So there's a variety of ways that you can purchase your lightweight paperback fusible. Buy it any way that you like, but just make sure if you do get a package that only has about 5 sheets in it, you might want to get 2 packages to have enough. And I've just used some of my roll here for mine. As you can see now, I'm already cutting some of these apart, and I've cut them on the line. So what I had done is I traced them all on the paperback. I loosely cut around that paper, and then I fused them to the wrong side of my snowflake fabric. And so they're all here, and I'm going to go ahead and get them all cut out. I've started doing that already. So we've got 3 of them here that are cut, and I cut them on the drawn lines. And then we will remove this paper, and you can feel the sticky adhesive there. And then that's what we will put on our blocks. I still have to cut my 12.5-inch sky blocks. So let me grab that up here next, and I'll get those cut. I've cut out my 12.5-inch blocks. I've gone ahead and cut 4 of them right now, and you'll see that these are the lavender with this glittery, and I think it just represents a nice snowy sky. And then of course I have 3 of my snowflake blades cut out. I have pressed each of the blocks horizontally and vertically, which is going to help me place my blades on here properly. And I'll have 3 more that will go around on the other side. So we'll work on that here in just a minute. I wanted to let you know, first of all, that this roll of lightweight paperback fusible that I have is called Flexi Fuse, and I did get that on Amazon. So that one is Flexi Fuse. There are many paperback fusibles, Pellon, just so many out there. So you can just use what you like, but just make sure it's a lightweight paperback fusible. Okay, so I'm going to continue cutting out some more of these blades for my snowflake, and then I'm going to remove the paper from the back of them, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to place them on here. Then I'll fuse them down, and then I'm going to set up my machine for applique. All right, let me get this centered here for you. I have gone ahead and cut out 6 of them. I've removed the paper from 5 of them. This blade here, the snowflake blade, does not yet have its paper removed. So on the back there, just grab a corner. Once they're nice and cool, you can easily do this. And if the adhesive comes away with the paper, and that's what happened right here, my adhesive has come away from it's on the paper instead of on the tip of that snowflake. That means that I didn't leave my iron on there long enough for it to adhere to the fabric. So I'm going to take this back to the iron, adhere it, let it cool, and then I can come back and remove my paper and place it here. And I'm simply trying to use those guidelines here to line up my blades so that they're even. You'll want to do this on your ironing board. I'm going to have to move mine, so I'll have to recenter everything when I get over there. But that way you can get everything centered just where you want it, and then go ahead and iron it. Once it's ironed, it's permanent, then we can applique. All right, I have finished fusing my 6 snowflake blades onto the 12.5-inch square. By the way, you can use any 12.5-inch squares in your Snow Village quilt. You don't have to use the blocks that I am sharing with you in this pattern. Make this pattern your own. If you want more snowflakes, add more snowflakes instead of houses. If you want more trees, add more trees. I think that's what I'm going to do this time around. So have fun, make this quilt your own. Now I've got this fused and I am ready to applique. I have a lavender thread here I was thinking of using, but you know, I think I'm going to go with this gray. I like this gray. You could applique each of these blades using a straight stitch, a blanket stitch, a zigzag stitch, or a decorative stitch, whatever you choose. I wanted to give you a close-up of what I've appliqued. I have done one of these blades in a straight stitch, and as you can see, there was a little bit of pulling of the thread underneath, so I had to make some adjustment to my bobbin thread. I made my bobbin thread a little bit looser, and that allowed it to stitch much more nicely. So when you use a straight stitch to applique, make sure it's right on the edge there, about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And then here, I've done a zigzag, and my zigzag is just a 2 wide and a 1 long, so that's the length and the width, 2 wide, 1 long on my machine. And I like this. And when I did the zigzag, I had 1 zig in the fabric, and the zag was off of the fabric right next to the blade there, and that's what I did all the way around. So I think I'm going to use this zigzag stitch to do all of the rest of my blades for this quilt. Here's a close-up of that blade with the zigzag stitch. I don't think you could see it as well on the table there, so I brought it up close to the screen. And that is the stitch that I plan to use for the rest of my snowflake blades for my applique. All right, so I have appliqued this first block. I'm going to need to take this out and make sure it's a zigzag stitch like the rest of them, but it turned out beautiful. I really do like it. I'm glad I chose the light gray thread to applique this with. And again, I used a 2 for the width and a 1 for the length on my machine. That's what I used for this zigzag. And when you do the zigzag, one of the zigs is on the fabric and the zag is on the one of the zigs is on the applique fabric and the zag is on the background fabric. And that's how you keep zigging and zagging along the applique unit. My apologies for all the noise coming through the window. My neighbor is getting a new roof on her home right now, so there's a lot of banging and pounding, and I apologize for that. One other thing I want to point out, I don't believe I mentioned this when I was threading my machine. I do use a bobbin thread. This is a Coates & Clark bobbin thread. It's a 70 weight, so it's a thinner weight thread. And I have this in a light and a dark color. And so I'll use those when I'm appliquing. So that goes in the bobbin. And then my thread that I use for applique, I guess the label is off of this, but I believe this is a 50 weight thread. And it's a beautiful rayon. It's got a nice, beautiful sheen to it. And the color that I actually used on this block is a gray, a pale gray. Thank you so much for joining me today for part 3 of our sew-along, the Snow Village sew-along. Part 4 will be available on November 17. So if you've already registered for this class, you'll receive the email on November 17. The video will go live on that day as well. And if you are a Block of the Month YouTube member, you will also receive that email. So I look forward to seeing many of your quilts and blocks as you're putting them together. Please don't forget to post them out on my Facebook group page. I'll have a link below in the description box so you can easily access that. And I look forward to seeing you next time here on Quilting with Lori. Until then, happy quilting.